Put a little bit of lube in the tip, water-soluble lubricant. Squeeze the tip to get out any air bubbles. Roll it over the head, down the shaft, to the base.
I've had sex once, and that's with the baby's father.
I hate being in a room with a pregnant woman or somebody that's pregnant. I mean, I don't hate them. I just hate the fact that they can have children and I can't. You know?
Do you
No
practice
secrets.
safe sex now?
Oh, of course.
We're having sex, we're enjoying having sex, clean sex.
No kids, no STDs.
We've all got real problems, but can't always solve them. We need someone to listen, cause we all need some talking.
Some try to ignore, but we've got to explore. We cannot hide it all away, let's do this together.
Whoa, I'll talk to you,
and you'll talk to me. We've got to reach out to set ourselves free. Degrassi Talks, coast to coast, we hear real stories from real people. Degrassi Talks,
Degrassi listens.
you're not alone, let's do this together. Degrassi Talks.
Teen sex, a hot topic. 50% of Canadian teens are sexually active by grade 11. That's every other kid in your grade 11 class. I'm Amanda Stepto. For the past 5 years, I've played the character Spike on Degrassi. Spike had unprotected sex and became a mother at 14. At the time, I thought, this is unrealistic. I mean, with all the information we have on STDs and birth control, could this really happen? Now that school's out, some of us from Degrassi have traveled across the country. We want to find out what you think about, talk about, and practice regarding sex.
Excuse me, would you mind answering a few questions for a documentary series that we're doing?
No,
Degrassi Talks?
that sounds cool.
Sure.
Great, thanks. Ready?
Yep, rolling.
Okay, when is someone ready to have sex?
Anywhere, anytime, when you're ready. Just do it.
I believe it's never okay for teens to have sex.
I was brought up to have sex after you're married.
Well, I just think that people, if they do have sex, they should be prepared, and they should be prepared to face the consequences.
Vicki, 2 years ago, something happened in your life. Would you like to talk with us about it? I was at a girlfriend's house one night, and I was going out with Dwayne for about 6 or 5 months, and it was more or less, come on, Vicki, let's go upstairs, it won't hurt. Everybody does it. It was like he was saying, come on now, like, if you don't come, I'm gonna slap you or something. So it was more or less like pressuring me into it. So I went upstairs and things happened, and I was stuck with a baby for the rest of my life now. I didn't really think of birth control, or my mom didn't really. She tried to explain to me, you know, you're supposed to use a condom or birth control pills or something to prevent birth. And it was hard for her because I was only 13 years old, and she didn't really think that I was old enough to be able to have sex yet.
Have you heard of any myths about avoiding pregnancy? Any?
Over that.
What?
Stand up after sex.
Yeah, you could never get pregnant in a swimming pool.
If you jump up and down after, or you have a shower
a cold
or something.
shower
Yeah.
to freeze the sperm or something.
If you bath in Coke, like Coca-Cola Classic, you know, you won't be pregnant.
Really?
First time you have sex, you can't get pregnant. That's pretty interesting.
I've had sex once, and that's with the baby's father.
What are we gonna tell Mom and Dad if you're pregnant?
I'd never tell them.
I think they'd figure it out. had an abortion. How can you say that? I can't have a kid. I'm too young to be a mom.
What do you think about abortion?
Well, I'd much rather have an abortion than have, like, a child that's all messed up or unwanted, you know?
I think it's wrong because I know it's not alive yet, but it's still a human being that's growing inside your body.
The way I see it, most people think it's the woman's choice. From what I've talked about it with friends and stuff, most people see it as a woman's choice.
In Toronto, we visited Alyssa. She decided to have an abortion after she found herself with an unplanned pregnancy. Her decision was not easy.
How did you find yourself pregnant?
Well, I mean, we used a condom, and I didn't use foam with the condom, mainly because of, like, it wasn't convenient for me at that time. Like, I didn't go and get the foam. Like, you can always protect yourself, like, to the maximum, you know what I mean? And, like, I chose not to, and I seriously regretted my choice, like, afterwards, sort of thing, so.
What did you decide to do?
Well, I never went, like, straight into, the idea of, like, having an abortion or whatever. Like, there was always, like, a choice to be made, right? And I chose abortion, so. I wish that I could have had the child, and I don't like to have to explain myself to people, like, about, the choice that I did make. It's just that, like, in reality, it's just not that simple, and it's not that easy, and there's a lot of, like, unwanted children, and there's a lot of children living really crummy lives, and, like, I can't, I don't want to contribute to that experience,
An abortion is not an easy decision, but sometimes it's the only answer.
Abortion's okay, I guess. She's the one who has to carry the baby around for 9 months, but I would like some say on what happens to it.
Why, like, I don't understand how people can just, like, murder somebody like that. Like, it's only, like, 9 months of your life. You could give it up for an adoption, too, but why murder them?
On Degrassi, I play the character Spike, who got pregnant. And she was only 14 at the time.
Yes.
How old were you when you got pregnant?
I was a month away from being 18, so I was 17 at the time when I got pregnant.
You weren't on any birth control or anything? There was
No.
So what did your mom say when she found out that you were pregnant? Was she very supportive?
She was supportive. I wanted to get an abortion. That was my plan. And when I did tell her, confide in her, she told me that there are other routes to take with the situation. So she mentioned adoption. I didn't really question if I wanted to keep the baby because I knew I wanted to give it up for adoption. I knew it all the time. The only time I would sort of wonder would be like, what if? What would it be like if I kept the baby? And when I would think about that, it would come around again that adoption was the best thing to do. I just think that a lot of young mothers, they don't think about the whole
situation,
picture.
yeah.
I mean, they think, oh, a cute little baby, and I can handle it, and oh, I know it'll be rough at first, and oh, I'll be able to, I don't know, just be able to handle it. But who wants to just handle it, for 20 years?
So much, you're not dirty.
Vicki changes over half a dozen diapers a day. She feeds Jeffrey every 3 hours. She doesn't date and seldom has time for her friends.
Gonna get all ready for daycare tomorrow? A lot of the time I get where I feel like just taking Jeffrey and giving him to somebody else, like pushing him off. Like, I feel like I'm cornered by this 2.5-year-old that's saying, Mom, Mom, and it frustrates you after a while. Just think, change the name. I'm not your mom anymore, sort of thing.
How do you feel about Jeffrey's dad?
I don't like him at all. He doesn't put anything forward to Jeffrey. He thinks that being a daddy is buying a big toy, buying him Christmas presents and stuff. He never comes. He was supposed to come on Easter Sunday, and he never showed up. So he's not obligated, and he's not responsible, so I just don't like him.
I think the guy leaves his girlfriend when he's pregnant mainly out of fear that he can't handle it. It's too much pressure. I think most guys are overwhelmed at what's happened and they freak right out.
So if you're 16 or 17, you don't really want to get married.
I figured because they don't have no control over their organs, they figured they don't have to have control over taking care of what that did.
But I think a lot more guys would stick around than are given credit for.
Because they just don't want to take the responsibilities, and they say, hey, I'm young still, I can go around with any girl I want, and it's not my responsibility.
I don't think she likes this playpen too much.
Yeah,
True to statistics, we had difficulty finding a teen father. Pat traveled to Red Deer to talk to Don.
Most guys I know who have been in that situation, they're basically just jerks. They were with the girls basically for one reason. You know, they're in high school, they say, well, we'll stay with them. You know, they say they love them and stuff, but as soon as the pressure comes on, well, let's skedaddle, get lost.
So I guess it's a fear, or just
fear.
They never
yeah.
cared in the first place.
Yeah, they didn't really care.
When you knew that Carol was pregnant, did the two of you discuss different options?
Yeah, we discussed everything. We talked about abortion, putting her up for adoption, and keeping her and stuff. And we decided to keep her.
Don and Carol had an unplanned pregnancy, as did Vicki, Alyssa, and Shantih. But pregnancy is not the only result of unprotected sex. Angie is 17. She's sexually active and has never used a condom.
I have scar tissue on my tubes. I only have one tube. My left tube is open, and my right tube is totally closed. I'm infertile because I've had many STDs.
So do you know what an STD is?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
VD, syphilis, gonorrhea, crabs.
Gingivitis.
Yes, I know what an STD is, and I don't have one.
What it stands for?
No, I don't know what it stands for.
No. Sexually transmitted disease.
Okay.
I walked into the doctor's office the other day for my appointment, and there were 6 pregnant women sitting in the office, and one with a baby, and I was the only one that didn't have a fat stomach. If I knew that all my STDs were going to cause me infertility, I wouldn't have let it happen. I mean, I love children a lot, you know, and I want somebody that's going to be able to call me mommy, you know. That's something I want to hear.
If you're gonna have sex, use a condom or something, because you can get in a lot of trouble if you don't. Trust me. I know.
Well, my motto is if there's no protection, there's no action, so.
And also, women also don't like to use a condom, you know, they're not so pleasant, it's not spontaneous, whatever. But I mean, these are superficial considerations. I mean, the bottom line is that if people don't start doing something to protect themselves, how many of this next generation is going to die of AIDS?
Bentley travels across the country, talking to high school students.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to lubricate this with Vaseline. Could you do me a favor?
He talks about the risks of unprotected sex and dispels some of the common myths regarding the use of condoms.
Vaseline destroys latex. People used to say that you know, the commercial Vaseline has 101 uses, some they don't tell you about. Well, this isn't one of them.
2 years ago, Bentley found out that he was HIV positive.
You could play with that as long as you want to, and it won't break. Go ahead. Enjoy it. When AIDS first came out, being called GRID, I think, at that time, and there was a problem in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, it wasn't seen as being a problem in Windsor. And so we thought that we were immune. I started to think about it. I thought, if I'm sleeping with people from Detroit, and people from Detroit are sleeping with people from Chicago, and people from Chicago are sleeping with people from New York and Los Angeles, then I could be infected.
The moment the doctor told you you were HIV positive?
The first thing I said was, oh. You're sure? And he said, yeah, we did 2 kinds of tests. The first one is sometimes, the second one is for sure. I sort of took a deep breath. And I told him how I had thought that I was, and that's why I went to get tested. But then when they just said, you know, come on in, I thought that I wasn't. And so it was a little bit of a surprise for me.
What do you think about using the condom? What do you think about it?
Well, it's not that bad. It's like, so you just gotta slip a little piece of rubber on. It's not that difficult.
I've heard a lot of people, like friends I know, that say it just doesn't feel right. Like a condom just doesn't make them feel natural when they're having sex.
Well, it's kind of against our religion, but that's...
Well, I don't use them, so if she wants to use them, she can, but that's totally up to her.
Aren't you worried about disease or anything?
What disease?
You try and think that you're going to beat this. You're going to take care of yourself. And every time you see a friend of yours die, that confidence is diminished, and you become a little bit more fearful.
Do you have condom machines in your school?
No, we don't, but I feel we should.
I think that's encouraging people to have sex, kids to have sex, especially at this age. So I don't think it's worth it.
I do.
Why?
Because I think kids are going to do it whether there's machines there or not, and having the machines there, it makes it a lot more accessible to kids. They don't have to go into a drugstore, you know, and get the box and put it up in front and have all these people in the lineup behind them, and then they feel really nervous and or embarrassed about it.
I thought these were on special.
Special?
Yeah, $4.99 down from $7.99. Let's find out.
Price check? No. It's okay. I don't mind paying more, really.
I think we should have them in our schools, but we don't. We should have them because, like, it's a little bit embarrassing when you live in a small town and you know everyone who works in the drugstore and you're in there to buy condoms. It's a little bit embarrassing. You know, what if they know your parents or, you know?
If he doesn't care to wear a condom, then he might not be there if you get pregnant.
You want to try feeding her?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I'm afraid I'm gonna drop her. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
She's probably gonna start
There you
screaming. Look at the face. Look, see, she doesn't want me.
Once you give her the ball, she'll be okay.
See, I told you. Look. See, I told you. Okay, you give her the bottle. See, look, I told you.
Well,
Kids don't like me. I guess you must feel pressured with all this responsibility.
Yeah, because I have everyone telling me, no, get a job, get off welfare and stuff. I'm like, well, I can get a job at McDonald's, but I'm still gonna be on welfare. It's not gonna make enough to make ends meet and stuff. And Carol can't really get a job right now, so I gotta get like a job that pays probably like $6-7 an hour, and if more, hopefully.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. I love him, but it's hard when you have to get up at 7 and get him ready for school and get yourself ready and go to school and come home to a 2.5-year-old baby running around the house. It's hard.
The world's so hard. I heard you actually got to pick your own parents that you'd want to take care of your son. So did you actually get to meet them?
Actually, I met them after I had the baby.
Really?
Yeah.
And what was that like? It must have been very strange.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because, I mean, you know, here they are. After all these years, they have a child, and we meet in the hospital. And to know that there's this newborn here that they're going to take home. You know, it was very emotional for them and for me. But it was nice. You know, I felt very good about doing it.
This is kind of funny because I myself am adopted.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like listening to this story. It's like hearing the conversation between my biological parents and my parents now. It's really weird. It's kind of strange.
Would you like to meet your biological parents?
I think so. I think if there's a definite want on their part to meet me, I'd like to meet them halfway. Only if they would want to. The realities of unprotected sex are scary. The good news is a lot of teens are aware of the issues and are responsible. Many of us have decided to abstain from sex until we're older, or until we're married. Some of us, like Lucy and Kurt, enjoy a happy and healthy sex life.
Having sex, we're enjoying having sex, clean sex.
No kids, no STDs.
How did you know you were finally ready to have sex?
I just did, but I knew what I was doing, so I knew the proper steps to take, you know, because my mother told me, she said, Lucy, if you ever want to go out and have sex, come and tell me, so at least, you know you're not doing something behind my back, and I could get you the proper things done, you know, like you can see a doctor, get yourself on birth control, you know, and if you had to, I'd give you money to buy a condom, you know, and she did because she wanted me to make sure that, you know, nothing would go wrong, because today, sex is not just sex. Sex is a game now you have to play, and there's lots of rules, so gotta be careful.
We've all got real problems, but can't always solve them. We need someone to listen, cause we all need some talking.
Some try to ignore, but we've got to explore. We cannot hide it all away, let's do this together.
Whoa, I'll talk to you,
and you'll talk to me. We've got to reach out to set ourselves free. Degrassi Talks, coast to coast, we hear real stories from real people. Degrassi Talks,
Degrassi listens.
You're not alone, let's do this together. Degrassi Talks.